the YouTube audience out there is watching live. Hello. Thank you for watching.
Hello, YouTube.
Yeah, wherever
Hello.
you are around the world. Now, what are your favorite kinds of videos to make? Do you have a favorite kind?
Well, I definitely,
or whatever?
originally I loved comedy and animation, and those are some of my earlier YouTube videos. In addition to pranking my grandmother and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody's familiar with Shane Dawson, but I collaborated with him a little bit, just making some comedic animations, and that's where I started. And then, like I said, I just honestly, you know what happened, Dan, is so I'm doing all these just like fun, silly videos in my off time, and I had a decent job, just editing reality TV. Then I had an injury, an overuse injury. I couldn't really work. I could not work.
Wow.
And I had a surgery, and so I was just stuck. Usually I was, like making content, and so for the first time in a while, no work, definitely depressed, and I just had time to just consume information and just read and watch documentaries and stuff. And I don't know, I just learned a lot about the world and our situation, our country, and just learned that there's a lot of stuff that needs more attention. And so I was definitely inspired to, when I was finally able to get back into it, I was inspired to try to make some videos that had shared like important messages, like the need for sustainability for the environment and economic justice, which we'll talk about.
And really, it's environmental justice now. It's what it's becoming, as far as the environment is concerned. The climate change and the global warming and all of that. It's environmental justice. I mean, Bernie Sanders was right to call it that. You made a video, and definitely when we get in the panel discussion, we're going to get into the guaranteed income. But I did want to mention this because it's huge news, and I first became aware of it through a Swiss referendum. I have family in Switzerland.
Me too.
And it got 40% of the vote. I think that was 2015 when they had the national vote on that. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I never heard of that before. And then I found out, that actually FDR had mentioned it as part of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and then even Richard Nixon, Tricky Dick, and then Dr. Martin Luther King, as we'll see in a panel discussion later. But all these people like Elon Musk and former Labor Secretary Robert Reich and former Finance Minister Yanis Varoufakis of Greece, and who else did I see? Bill Gates. I mean, and then this week, the huge story that our mainstream media did not cover was, if you heard, I'm sure that Mark Zuckerberg did the commencement at his alma mater, Harvard, on Thursday, I believe it was, or Friday, and he mentioned guaranteed income. And I want to read the actual quote about it. Every generation expands its definition of equality. Now it's time for our generation to define a new social contract. We should have a society that measures progress not by economic metrics like GDP, gross domestic product, but by how many of us have a role we find meaningful. We should explore ideas like universal basic income to make sure everyone has a cushion to try new ideas. That is a huge story this year. Matt, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, that was huge. I first found out about the idea also because of the Swiss referendum. I think the referendum launched like 2013. They finally voted it in 2015. But when I heard about them, just that they were going to vote, that they had a referendum, I was like, Jesus. I mean, it really blew my mind, and I just the idea of it sounded crazy. Free money for everybody. It sounded good. I mean, in my situation, in most people's situations, but I did a lot of reading about it, and it really does make sense, Dan, because it's in the Declaration of Independence we say everybody has the right to life and liberty.
That's right.
But in a capitalist society where everything's determined by money, you have no right to life or liberty unless you can afford it. So, and obviously, okay, 1 in 7 people are in poverty.
Yes.
Simple solution, and hey, this is MLK's words too. The simplest solution to poverty is also would also be the most effective, a guaranteed income or a universal basic income. And what's so great about this idea is it really goes across all ideologies. Socialist redistribution of wealth. Anybody that says they're for eliminating poverty, which is, all political parties will say that.
They'll say it.
They'll say it. So if they really mean it, they should support this.
That's right.
Even libertarians and conservatives would have many reasons to support this.
That's right.
The largest would be it would eliminate government bureaucracy of our current welfare system.
That's right.
Why force so many people to fill out all these forms, jump through all these hoops, basically apply for the right to survive, for enough money to survive? I mean, that's kind of messed up, especially when we have more than enough resources for everybody.
That's right.
More than enough. Throw away 40% of the food we produce, and there are 5 or 6 vacant homes for each homeless American. So the issue is not that there's not enough to go around. The issue is that people don't have access to money.